Welcome to the 6th Assembly of the Global Environment Facility, or GEF. We were delighted to be here in this beautiful city of Da Nang, Vietnam. I would like to thank the government of Vietnam to host this assembly. I hope you are enjoying these wonderful surroundings. The first item of our agenda today is to select a chair of this assembly. I would like to propose that the assembly elects Mr. Xuan Ha, Minister of Natural Resources and the Environment, Vietnam, as the chair of the assembly by acclamation. So I'd like to invite Minister Ha to be seated.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank the Assembly for the honor of being elected as Chairman of the Assembly. The 6th Assembly takes place in the world facing many profound challenges from environmental degradation, serious pollution, and changing climate. To address those challenges, here in Da Nang, we must join hands to deliver the transformation that is necessary in our economies, in our societies, and in our lifestyle to achieve a resilient and sustainable Earth. As Chairman of the Assembly, I look forward to receiving the support and cooperation of you all. I pledge to do my utmost to ensure we have the successful assembly to realize our common aspiration for better future. Now I would like to move to item 2 of agenda. In accordance with paragraph 12 of the rules of the procedure for the assembly, the assembly is to elect 2 vice chairs from among representatives attending the meeting. One vice chair is to be a representative of recipient country participant, and one vice chair is to be representative of non-recipient country participant. I open the floor for nomination, please. Okay. I give the floor to the representative of Belgium, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I would like to propose that the Honorable Madame Aida Keita Mbo, the Minister of Environment from Mali, be elected as Vice Chair for the recipient participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Belgium. They have? Okay. Mexico? Okay. Thank you. I give the floor the next to representative of Mexico.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to second the motion that the Minister of Environment of Mali be elected as Vice Chair for the recipient participants, and I would like to propose that His Excellency Mr. Atle Hamar, Vice Minister for the Ministry of Climate and Environment of Norway, be elected as Vice Chair for the non-recipient participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Mexico. Next, I would like to give the floor the next to His Excellency Minister of Armenia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to second the motion to elect the Vice Minister of Norway as Vice Chair for the non-recipient participants. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it's that takes the both nomination are approved by acclamation. My congratulations to the two vice chairs. Thank you. Now I would like to turn to item 3 on the agenda. Adoption of the agenda and organization of work. The draft agenda is before you in document GFA 601. This morning, the work of the Assembly will be organized with a first plenary discussion that will begin after the opening ceremony. This afternoon and tomorrow morning, we will have the plenary where statements by the delegation will be had, and in the parallel, we will have the round tables as indicated in the schedule. Tomorrow afternoon, we will continue with the items on the agenda until we finish. I welcome any comments to proposal agenda. Okay, and I don't know see. I would like now agenda is adopted. Thank you for the consensus, all of you. Now I would like to invite Prime Minister of Vietnam to join us. I would like to ask please to invite Prime Minister of Vietnam to join us.
Thủ tướng cũng sẽ phân biệt nhé. Thì bây giờ anh sẽ chuyển tiếp để
We inform us that Prime Minister have the meeting now. He will come later. I would like to turn to next item. I would like to ask Secretary, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished delegates, we are delighted to welcome artist Phan An Vu, who will share with us a sand painting performance with a message from Vietnam to the world represented by all of you in this hall. The presentation will have 3 episodes. First, the Earth origin as a truly green planet. Second, human development activities bring forth environmental challenges. And third, the children's wishes for a resilient, sustainable, and life-affirming planet. Mr. Phan An Vu.
The Earth a long time ago. Truly green planet. With provides all creatures with food, water, and a natural home. And many treasures for all generations to enjoy. However, human development activities has changed everything. The mother nature has been hurt because
forests have been overexploited.
the air we breathe has been polluted. The water we drink has been made unsafe. Rivers and oceans have suffered from rubbish and toxic waste.
Land has been desertified.
Biodiversity has been reduced.
The climate has changed.
People have also suffered. Efforts have been made to address the challenges, but not enough. We need all people to join hands to save Mother Nature, to save our planet.
We wish that Mother Nature be restored.
We wish for green forests, for forest creatures. We wish for clean air.
We wish for safe water for everybody.
We wish for clean and green rivers and oceans. We wish for restored land and biodiversity. We wish for an end to climate change. We wish for nature's treasures to last forever. Above all, we wish for resilient, sustainable, and life of flaming planets.
you, artist Han Anh Vũ, for that delightful performance. Your message was clear, and we here to work so that it can honest for you and for our generation to come. Now I would like to invite Prime Minister of Vietnam to join us. Please. Please, when the Prime Minister to come, I would like to invite you to rise. As invite to Prime Minister to join ahead. Please take applause it when he coming. We need people to what? You see it? Yeah. You say hello, every you possible. That's fine. Thủ tướng lên. Mời Thủ tướng lên đây anh. Anh ấy. Đấy. Xong chờ Thủ tướng. Thank you so much. It is my great honor to introduce His Excellency Mr. Nguyen Phuc, Prime Minister of Vietnam, and to invite him now to give his statements on behalf of Vietnam as a host country for GEF Assembly. Please, xin kính mời Thủ tướng.
Đông quá hả? Thưa bà Naoko Ishii, Giám đốc điều hành kiêm Chủ tịch Quỹ Môi trường Toàn cầu. Thưa quý vị lãnh đạo quốc gia có mặt hôm nay, thưa tất cả quý vị đại biểu. Thay mặt Chính phủ Việt Nam, tôi nhiệt liệt chào mừng các vị đại biểu, các vị khách quý tham dự kỳ họp lần thứ 6 Đại hội đồng Quỹ Môi trường Toàn cầu thành phố Đà Nẵng tươi đẹp. Tôi xin chân thành cảm ơn Quỹ Môi trường Toàn cầu đã lựa chọn Việt Nam để tổ chức sự kiện quốc tế về môi trường có ý nghĩa to lớn hôm nay. Thưa tất cả quý vị, trái đất, ngôi nhà chung của nhân loại, đang phải chịu nhiều tác động nghiêm trọng do suy thoái, ô nhiễm môi trường và biến đổi khí hậu, nước biển dâng gây ra. Nếu chúng ta không có những giải pháp tổng thể của các quốc gia, các dân tộc và mọi người dân sẽ phải gánh chịu những hậu quả khôn lường. Thách thức to lớn đó cũng chính là cơ hội để nhân loại phải nhìn nhận, đánh giá lại con đường và mô hình phát triển, từ đó tạo ra những thay đổi trong nhận thức và hành động để môi trường sống tự nhiên trên toàn cầu mãi trường tồn. Những giá trị văn hóa, lịch sử cao đẹp của bao thế hệ trẻ, thế hệ của chúng ta sẽ được gìn giữ, trao truyền cho các thế hệ mai sau. Và hơn hết là để chúng ta cùng đoàn kết thực hiện hóa ước vọng của biết bao thế hệ người dân, không phân biệt màu da, dân tộc, về một hành tinh có sức sống, có sức chống chịu tốt, bền vững và tràn đầy sức sống. Trong gần 3 thập kỷ kể từ khi thành lập đến nay, Quỹ Môi trường Toàn cầu đã góp phần quan trọng vào việc giải quyết các thách thức to lớn về môi trường, biến đổi khí hậu trên phạm vi toàn cầu, đặc biệt là sự hỗ trợ của Quỹ Môi trường Toàn cầu dành cho các quốc gia đang phát triển, trong đó có Việt Nam của chúng tôi. Thưa tất cả quý vị, là một quốc gia đang phát triển, Việt Nam phải đối mặt với nhiều vấn đề về suy thoái, ô nhiễm môi trường và biến đổi khí hậu, nước biển dâng. Mặc dù còn nhiều khó khăn hạn chế về nguồn lực, Chính phủ Việt Nam đã kiên quyết triển khai lồng ghép các hoạt động bảo vệ môi trường, ứng phó biến đổi khí hậu vào kế hoạch phát triển kinh tế xã hội của đất nước, huy động các nguồn lực, sự sáng tạo, chung tay của tất cả cộng đồng doanh nghiệp và người dân, kiên quyết không đánh đổi môi trường để phát triển kinh tế làm ảnh hưởng tới phát triển bền vững. Trên thực tế, Việt Nam đang nỗ lực thực hiện các mục tiêu phát triển bền vững của Liên Hiệp Quốc, cam kết tại COP21 về biến đổi khí hậu. Tại hội nghị G7 mở rộng ở Canada ngày 9 tháng 6 2018, tôi đã phát biểu đánh giá cao vai trò quan trọng, sự hợp tác hiệu quả của Quỹ Môi trường Toàn cầu và sẽ cùng với Quỹ Môi trường Toàn cầu thực hiện dự án vùng vì một đại dương không có rác thải nhựa. Việt Nam xin chân thành cảm ơn Quỹ Môi trường Toàn cầu, các quốc gia thành viên, các đối tác phát triển và mong tiếp tục nhận được nhiều hơn nữa sự tư vấn, hợp tác, hỗ trợ nguồn lực quý báu của các bạn. Việt Nam là địa điểm thuận lợi để Quỹ Môi trường Toàn cầu thực hiện các dự án mới về bảo vệ môi trường và sẵn sàng tham gia các dự án toàn cầu, liên vùng, liên lĩnh vực nhằm chia sẻ, học hỏi kinh nghiệm, xử lý các vấn đề môi trường toàn cầu như rác thải nhựa đại dương, bảo tồn đa dạng sinh học, v.v. Thưa tất cả quý vị, tôi xin nêu một số nội dung quan trọng để góp phần thảo luận của kỳ họp lần thứ 6 Đại hội đồng hôm nay. Một là cần nhận diện cụ thể những thách thức chính về môi trường đối với nhân loại hiện nay, từ đó đề ra được chính sách ưu tiên nhằm giải quyết một cách tổng thể, hiệu quả những thách thức đó. Hai là cần đánh giá được hiệu quả của cơ chế hỗ trợ và hợp tác hiện nay, từ đó có những cải tiến mang tính đột phá, đặc biệt trong khâu huy động và phân bổ nguồn lực để hỗ trợ các quốc gia thành viên, nhất là những quốc gia đang phải đối mặt với những thách thức to lớn do sự suy thoái, ô nhiễm môi trường, biến đổi khí hậu toàn cầu gây ra. Ba là cần đề xuất được những dự án tổng hợp mang tính toàn cầu, liên vùng, liên lĩnh vực nhằm giải quyết các nguyên nhân sâu xa của ô nhiễm, suy thoái môi trường, suy giảm đa dạng sinh học, biến đổi khí hậu, vân vân, cũng như cần có các dự án trọng điểm để giải quyết những vấn đề cấp bách hiện nay như vấn đề rác thải nhựa nói chung, rác thải nhựa đại dương nói riêng. Thưa tất cả quý vị, liệu hành tinh của chúng ta có đủ sức chống chịu trước những rủi ro của thiên tai? Tương lai của nhân loại có bền vững hay không? Các châu lục có còn tràn đầy sức sống hay không? Câu trả lời phụ thuộc vào chính mỗi người chúng ta, tùy thuộc vào hành động của mỗi chúng ta ngay từ hôm nay, vì một hành tinh có sức chống chịu tốt, bền vững và tràn đầy sức sống. Việt Nam sẵn sàng đồng hành cùng quý vị về sự phát triển bền vững cho thế hệ hiện tại và các thế hệ tương lai. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn tất cả quý vị.
Thank you, His Excellency, Mr. Nguyen Phuc, for his speech. I now would like to invite the CEO of the Global Environment Facility to take the floor for her opening statement, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excellencies, colleagues and friends, very good morning to everyone. Welcome to the GEF Assembly here in Da Nang, Vietnam. First of all, I'd like to thank Your Excellency Prime Minister of Vietnam, Nguyen for your hosting the GEF Assembly and personally attending this opening and sharing your insights for us for our deliberation for today and tomorrow. We all admire the success of Vietnam since the launch of Doi Moi in 1986. Vietnam has achieved unprecedented growth of almost 6% for the last 3 decades, and became a middle-income country. What's more, Vietnam has done this with stability and quality. Poverty has gone down from 50% to just 3%, and the people of Vietnam are now much healthier and better educated than in many upper middle-income countries. It's a huge achievement. However, this amazing success hasn't come for free. Throughout its development process, Vietnam has suffered from degradation of land and forests, and from pollution of air and water. Vietnam is very well aware of the need to take care of environment. Just a couple of weeks ago, as Prime Minister just mentioned, at the G7 meeting in Canada, Your Excellency expressed your strong commitment for Vietnam not to sacrifice the environment for economic growth, and to encourage clean energy, green growth, and blue and healthy oceans. I was particularly pleased that you referred to the GEF Assembly as an opportunity to promote regional collaboration on the fight against marine plastic. Your Excellency, Prime Minister, your challenge is also the challenge the entire world is facing, and your commitment is an inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, to me personally, having this GEF assembly here in Da Nang means a lot. I was here in Da Nang 20 years ago, working on a World Bank project focusing on second-tier cities. I remember we were walking around the streets in Da Nang and asking the people about their desire for safe drinking water. Well, 20 years have passed, and Da Nang is not a second-tier city anymore. It is a major city with modern infrastructure and international links. It is an example of the change we can achieve if we are to put all effort into it. It's really good to be back to Da Nang. Excellencies, colleagues, and friends, this assembly comes at an important time. We were at a defining moment for the future of our planet and its people. For the past half-century, we humans have made a lot of progress in our societies, but doing so, we were putting huge pressure on the health of our planet. Every day, we were receiving wake-up calls from nature, massive loss of forests and lands, species being lost, pollution of air and water, and we were suffering from increasingly visible impacts of climate change. Coastal cities like Da Nang are vulnerable, so are small island states, as we will hear soon from one of their leaders. The GEF was created more than 25 years ago to help fight against these threats. Since then, we have together done a lot of good work, and we were proud of it. However, today, we all need the courage to admit that past success is not good enough. Look at the facts. We continue to push the carrying capacity of our planet to its breaking point. Business as usual will guarantee disaster. Scientists are now telling us that we have entered into the Anthropocene, where we humans are the dominant force of changing the function of the Earth. So, we humans must change. We must transform our key economic systems, our food and land use system, our cities and energy system, and we need to move on to a circular economy. We must restore the ecosystem that are the very foundation of our economies and societies as we know them. The good news is that by now, we all come to know that the transformation is not only needed, but it's possible and is good for our own lives. Then, I have a question for all of us. Why is the progress so slow? Why is the transformation not happening fast enough? Why we cannot reach tipping points anytime soon? What is holding us back? Well, in my view, we were all locked in the current economic system. We were caught by inertia and by wrong incentives. We were bound by social norms, and we tend to select politically safe options. This is why the transformation we were talking about needs a new type of coalitions, a coalition among diverse stakeholders who share the same goal. Just think about the food system. In order to arrest deforestation from food system, we need a coalition of actors along the supply chain, from smallholders, big processors, traders, bankers, and to consumers. We also need governments, local and national. Individual companies can only act differently if a critical mass is moving together to create market shifts. Policymakers should be able to help by changing laws and regulations. Consumers and investors can also be strong forces to show the direction. Not a single actor can catalyze the change. Many actors need to move together. And it is not easy to build this unusual coalition of stakeholders. It takes time and courage from every one of us. However, there is a hope. Towards the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement, there emerged a number of like-minded coalitions among business, cities, governments, academia, and citizens. And the SDGs provide a good framework to hold us together to catalyze the necessary change. What is the role of the GEF in this? Our strength is you, our partnership. We have 183 member countries, 18 great agencies. We serve 5 conventions, and we have a very strong network of partners from business, CSOs, and academia. All of you are here today. GEF7 gives the opportunity to move together to help catalyze the system change and to find the new ways of taking care of our ecosystem. We tackle emerging challenges such as marine plastic. We can harness new ideas such as circular economy. We need to move out of our own comfort zone and take a leap for the disruption. Thanks to the GEF 29 donors, we have secured $4.1 billion for next 4 years. The GEF7 strategy is full of programs to support those ambitions. We have the mission, the passion, and the courage and resources to safeguard the global commons. This assembly is the beginning of our next 4-year journey. I am extremely excited to get on with it. Together with all of you, we can do it. Thank you so much. Sing, come on.
Thank you so much, CEO, for the speech. Try to introduce the Secretary.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So before the Prime Minister and the Chairman leave the stage, we would like to invite all heads of delegation as well as the special guests to join here on the stage for the official photograph. The table will be removed. There are 3 steps that we can use to organize that.
Good morning. Are you awake? Yahweh. Chairman, is not here. President Bachelet, Ministers, Excellencies, Madam Naoko Ishii, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to be with you this morning and to have the opportunity to address the Global Environmental Facility's 6th Assembly. I would like to congratulate the government of Vietnam for hosting this globally significant conference. Thank you very much for the generous hospitality and warm welcome that you have extended to all of us. I'm also honored to speak to you today as an elected female leader of an independent Pacific Island nation. As well, I'm very proud to be joined here in Da Nang by so many women leaders working for the environment, including President Bachelet and Ms. Ishii. And I also give thought and recognition to so many other inspiring women around the world, many of whom are present here today. Much progress has been achieved, but as we know, women everywhere face everyday disadvantages. We have to keep working for gender-responsive government policies and programs, decision-making and leadership, economic empowerment, ending violence against women, and ensuring effective education and sexual reproductive health services. I believe that as we empower women, we will be unlocking new potential to tackle environmental challenges. GEF has long put important emphasis on gender, but this point still merits being highlighted upfront. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, as many of you know, the Marshall Islands is one of the world's lowest lying island nations. We grapple with an existential threat in the face of the growing global environmental crisis. To us, this assembly is an engine room of hope. You are at the forefront of efforts to overcome the crisis. Since 1992, approximately $18 billion of grants have been issued by GEF to projects in over 170 countries, and constitute perhaps the most impressive contribution to safeguarding the environment. Thousands of protected areas have been created. The integrity of hundreds of millions of hectares of land safeguarded, and support was made possible to critical watersheds around the world. The work of GEF supporting developing countries with nationally led emission reduction efforts and protection of millions of people vulnerable to climate change has saved lives and improved our chances for survival. GEF's contribution to addressing chemicals and pollutants played a pivotal role in paving the way for a recovery of the ozone layer. As we look to implementing GEF 7, I'm confident that the GEF will continue to have an impressive impact. With my own and other countries' futures at risk, I count on you all to infuse your work with a Marshallese sense of perspective as you move into this conference's critical thematic sessions. I am sure you will set GEF 7 on track to surpass even the high achievements of the past. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, as many of you will be familiar, the Marshall Islands has known existential threats of the environmental nature before. Indeed, the nuclear testing program during our colonial periods made parts of our nation uninhabitable for a virtually indefinite period of time. Healthy and thriving communities were displaced, never to return, and thousands have suffered appalling diseases as a result. This extreme plight has in large measure driven our resolve to champion the environment and never let humans devastate our lands, ocean, and atmosphere again. As we all know, this is a challenging task both nationally and internationally. At home on the Blue Pacific continent, we have an ingrained dependency on the oceans. This is especially so in our other islands of the Marshall Islands and other Pacific Island nations, where the subsistence lifestyles of our peoples are dependent on the sea for their protein. The fish from our lagoons and seashells form an important component of our diet. And indeed, for many communities, the oceans are the only source of protein that is available. Under our recently adopted national ocean policy, we therefore committed to ensuring our resilience for generations to come in the face of global ocean challenges. Such a sentiment was also acknowledged when the Marshall Islands declared its national waters in their entirety a sanctuary for sharks. Commercial fishing of all sharks is prohibited in our seas, which span nearly 4 times the extent of the U.S. state of California. This was a measure strongly supported from the heights of government to the most local level among communities, and it shows what can be accomplished when unity exists. That is why we are now eager to go a step further and begin exploring wider ocean conservation zones in a similar way to other nations, such as the Seychelles, as an effort to boost the economy while relieving national debt. We are also taking action to bolster blue economy to our national bottom line. We applied, for instance, a 3% blue fee on annual fisheries revenues. Those funds support our conservation management plans, the Remalap, which means looking into the future. We have also applied hard catch limits through the per seine vessel day scheme. This was only possible because of the cooperation between the parties to the Nauru Agreement. The value of the day scheme returns to this agreement have increased from 60 million in 2010 to around 500 million in 2016, and underscores the proposition that with the right instruments and with greater clarity to fishing rights, it is possible to transform the fishery. It also teaches us how much more can be accomplished for the environment when we all work together. And yet, despite all such efforts, as an atoll nation, we are at the forefront of the ocean pollution crisis. Put simply, a whole Marshallese generation might grow up without access to safe and swimmable water. Our ocean-reliant diet also predisposes us disproportionately to sea-based food chain contaminations. Here again, we have taken initiative, for instance, imposing a total ban on plastic bags and styrofoam. But our small Pacific country cannot solve such a systemic problem without a connected global effort. I was therefore glad to join G7 leaders at the recent summit in Canada to find ways to address its impacts on island countries. Political support is growing, even if we have a long way to go. We have already benefited from GEF's focus on persistent organic pollutants, and I believe GEF can play a vital role in helping us to mobilize for the transformational change needed in the time ahead. We should neither shy away from global cooperation to achieve change. As many of you will be aware, the Marshall Islands co-founded the High Ambition Coalition in the lead up to COP21 Paris Climate Conference, and we continue to convene the coalition. Our late former Minister Tony de Broom led our efforts through the coalition at Paris to help broker a universal agreement that gave hope to even the most threatened nations. His leadership was also crucial in RMI joining the Climate Vulnerable Forum, which acted as a champion of the 1.5 degrees goal in Paris. We have continued Tony's fighting spirit since Paris to secure ambitious outcomes across a variety of fora, working together with others, including at ICAO with the Kigali Amendment, and most recently at the IMO this April. Setting an absolute cap on international shipping emissions for the first time was a historic achievement. We hope for more action in time, but this was a good start. In such endeavors, we learned that even the most challenging global differences can be overcome. Like many others, we are also working hard to match our international engagements at the national level. Under our 2025 climate targets, we have committed to a 32% reduction in emission compared to 2010 levels, and we have also committed to bringing forward a new and more ambitious 2030 target ahead of 2020. We now need every country to step up the ambition of their own NDCs if we are to stay within the 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature limit we set in Paris. We have moreover created a range of national structures and are currently developing our 2050 climate strategy covering both mitigation and adaptation. We are developing legislation in support of this, including a national electricity energy roadmap that will reduce our dependence on diesel fuels. We are doing our share to stay below 1.5 degrees, even though our contribution to global warming is infinitesimal. We might consider that no effort is too small when so much is at stake. No matter how big or small you are, a difference can be made. As developing countries move forward, we look forward to GEF's assistance in building truly sustainable national capacity and to provide opportunities for our national and regional experts through employment, internships, and participations in reviews such as STEP, as well as project development and implementation. Notwithstanding the resources required for the effective achievement of the Paris Agreement and the 2030 Agenda is enormous. While small countries like mine are showing leadership through ambitious mitigation targets, the support, financial and otherwise, required to make this happen cannot be overemphasized. We are very hopeful for the changes that renewable energy can bring once we overcome the challenges to get there. As islands, in particular, we look forward to energizing some of the world's most remote off-grid locations, making electricity viable when it hasn't been possible before. That will make a tremendous difference to the quality of life of so many Marshallese. The same will be possible all over the world. Before closing, I would like to announce one further effort that the Marshall Islands will be taking, together with the 48 members of the Climate Vulnerable Forum, who represent a significant number of the countries most threatened by climate change. The CVF was founded in 2009 to champion climate action and help raise the voice of the world's most vulnerable countries. As some of you may be aware, my country will shortly assume the chairmanship of this body following the tenure of Ethiopia. And I am announcing today that during our chairmanship, we will convene a leaders' summit of the CVF, together with other leaders on November 22 this year. This was called by the forum and its four V20 finance ministers in 2016 and 2017. We believe that it is a crucial step for helping to renew political momentum and awareness for urgently needed action to enable the vulnerable to survive and thrive. Our summit will be convened entirely online as a virtual summit, showcasing our intentions to work in new and innovative ways and to build broader coalitions across society for the change we need. I'm grateful to the GEF for offering to screen our summit announcement video to you here today. As such, I'm pleased to leave you with some images of my and other forum member countries. Again, I was very pleased to join you here today, and the vulnerable nations will be pleased for you to join us on 22nd November. Kumoltada, thank you very much. Paris Agreement on climate change gave us rare hope. For my country, the Marshall Islands, and many others, it was a promise of survival we fought hard for. My country is made up of over 1,000 islands, only a few feet above sea level. Warming could raise the Pacific Ocean far above that. Today, our people live in fear that king tides could flood our homes, claiming lives even as we sleep. But we don't stand alone. People everywhere have awoken to climate perils. Everyone's way of life is under threat. Fortunately, fighting climate change is an opportunity. Renewable energy gives us access to nature's enormous wealth, jobs, health, and prosperity. Despite growing momentum, not enough is being done to keep us safe. If warming goes above 1.5 degrees Celsius, our fate is sealed. But it's not too late if every nation steps up and does more by 2020. The Marshall Islands feels the great weight of responsibility to assume the leadership of the Climate Vulnerable Forum at this crucial time. Our coalition of 48 most vulnerable nations called for a leaders' summit that I'm honored to host this 22nd of November. The summit will be entirely online, making use of solutions at hand for a carbon-free global gathering. It embraces the spirit of inclusivity, or Talanoa. We are all connected. On that day, the world will hear our stories of what's at stake and shine a light on actions we take to survive and thrive. It's a call to ambition to leaders the world over. If we can act, so can any nation. I look forward to strong engagement of climate vulnerable countries to champion this. I invite any leader prepared to do more by 2020 to show solidarity and join our summit. I have faith that together we succeed. Everyone can contribute. Join us.
Thank you so much, Her Excellency Hilda Heine, President of Marshall Islands, for your very inspirational message. We also hear you speak at the G7 in Canada, and a very inspirational message, and I think the world got it. And I am also very honored to personally receive your invitation to join this CVF, Climate Vulnerability Forum. And it's such an honor to accept it, so I will join it. Thank you. Now, we would like to hear from another female leader. She is also the first female elected president in her home country. Let me introduce the former president of Chile, Her Excellency Michelle Bachelet. Please come to the stage. As you know, Sustainable Development Goal is in her DNA. She helped introduce the first carbon tax in your home country, actually in South America. She created the parks in Patagonia, the size of Switzerland, I hear, and she created the world's largest marine protected areas. And she put her country in the truly transformational pathway. So it's such an honor to have you and Her Excellency. So floor is yours. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, dear friends, I want first to thank the government of Vietnam for your hospitality and the excellent organization of these meetings, and also Global Environmental Facility for this invitation. I feel so honored to be part of the conversation, but most of all, of this common search for concrete answers, and most importantly, among so many great agents of change. I must tell you something a little bit anecdote. I always speak about gender, But today I'm not speaking about gender. So when Hilda started speaking about gender, I was very happy because I completely agree on everything that she had mentioned. But because this is exactly what a defining moment is about. Not just weighing the urgency of what is happening at the planetary level, but also searching for the detonators and accelerators to succeed in a powerful mobilization. You were asking us, Naoko, why is this not happening? So that's why we need to identify what we have to do best. That's why it's so important to be here with political leaders, public sector officials, scientists, civil society, entrepreneurs, and investors. Because the defining difference is to set in motion a transformation that will allow us to continue inhabiting planet Earth. Not words, action. Unfortunately, this is a path that is still open. We can still hope to restore equilibriums and modify our ways of living on this planet. It is possible to transport ourselves, feed ourselves, and create jobs differently. Or to put it simple, in a rational manner. I come from a country that has had first-hand experience of the devastating effects of pollution, climate change, and the irresponsible exploitation of natural resources. We are a privileged country in terms of natural resources, but that same natural wealth has kept us tied to production models that do not ensure long-term development. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Our cities, towns, and coasts have experienced the human, patrimonial, economic, and cultural cost of doing things as usual. What I'm saying is not abstraction. Every year, thousands of people are struck during the winter with respiratory diseases associated to our air pollution. Entire communities have seen their homes and projects destroyed due to record amounts of rain, drought, or frequent forest fires. Farmers suffer with desertification, while cattle farmers do so with unusual cold spells. Artisanal fishermen see how the ecosystem of the coastal area has been altered and how industrial overfishing is leaving our oceans without resources. In other words, we Chileans have had to understand by force that environmental issues are no longer sectorial, either niche issues or secondary. They are essential for any serious discussion about development. It is not a coincidence that 93% of my compatriots believe that climate change is a phenomenon that is already happening, nor that 88% of Chileans consider that the main cause is human activity. However, I do not come from a fatalist country. I come from a country that realized that it's not necessary to be a world power to be part of the solution. But don't get me wrong, we still have a lot of things to do. But a great transformation was achieved. We confirmed that it's possible to do things differently. Allow me to dwell on what I consider to be some key considerations of this transformation, experiences that can be particularly helpful for other states like Chile have developed thanks to exploitation of commodities. In the first place, one of the main reasons for our recent achievement is that our citizens were receptive and willing to make the required changes. I would not be here if there had not been a set of milestones that empower the people, bringing the state's responsibility in environmental preservation to the forefront of the discussion. For example, I believe that one of the turning points was the rejection of Hydro Aysén, a mega power plant in the south of Chile. Symptomatically denying its construction was one of the first signs we gave as a government. And why? Because we were forced to prove through our actions that there were other alternatives, and we did it. What I mean by this is that any long-term transformation should be accomplished by allowing everyone to be part of the solution. Citizens must feel that they have a responsibility, especially when we are facing slow cultural changes. For instance, to encourage citizen participation, we included environmental education and climate change awareness in our school curriculum. We prohibited the distribution of plastic bags in coastal towns and cities, and now it will be expanded to the whole country. And we implemented green taxes for industries and transportation. We created a citizen consultation system regarding measures that restrict car use and firewood heating. We co-financed heater replacement and approved the first recycling law in Latin America. Because no transformation is possible if you don't give citizens the chance to become a part of cultural changes through everyday actions. In second place, it's central to assign specific tasks to public services. They must be the first to set an example, either through the installation of solar roof, the construction of energy-efficient buildings, This was part of the National Action Plan on Climate Change, where 20 public institutions had sectoral adaptation and mitigation measures. Clearly, this was supported by many other measures, but it was relevant that the public sector needs to set the example and show that it's feasible. Lastly, it is key that we create permanent gathering spaces that encourage dialogue, reflection, and planning with scientific communities and the business world. The National Council for the Implementation of the Agenda for Sustainable Development, or the Permanent Presidential Advisory Commission on Climate Change, the one which produced the National Action Plan on Climate Change 2017-2022, are successful examples of these discussion spaces. But we also established a strategic economic agenda for sustainable tourism, sustainable construction, sustainable fishing and aquaculture, sustainable high-grade mining, and solar energy. Why? Because we were certain that in order to reach any long-term transformation, we need to change the models in different economic activities. But I would like to focus on what I consider to be one of the most defining factors in any transformation. Because I have to say, we need information, we need science, we need good diagnosis, we need good planning and good guidelines, but they're not enough. In order to achieve sustainable development, facts must speak for themselves, because the strength of an idea depends on its feasibility. Only then we can aspire that new actors get on board on this worthy cause. I consider we accomplished this goal during our revolutionary energy agenda, which triplicated the amount of renewable energies in our matrix during my 4-year term, and at the same time lowered energy prices from $130 to $30. Thus, this sector has led investment and boosted a major market, impacting industries and households. In other words, facts have proven that economic productivity is interconnected to what's sustainable. We have confirmed that reduced emissions are good business for everybody. We have demonstrated that different type of economy is possible, that productive models evolve, and that it's important to have these supporting facts if we seek to bring sustainability to other industries. The state has assumed its responsibility and its non-transferable role by delivering a vision, safeguarding the long-term common good, as well as prioritizing, convening, regulating, and innovating. Private has responded to the emerging market's call. Citizens were part of the long-term strategic discussion. As a country, we took a big step. Chile has always had the Atacama Desert, with the highest solar radiation of the world. We always have excellent winds, vast oceans, and powerful volcanoes. So it's fair to ask, what makes this specific transformation any different? Well, I think we had a clear vision, state vision, and good public policies to stimulate the participation of the private sector in this new stage. And with incentives and regulation, we were able to convince them, not only with words, but with facts, providing them with evidence that this is the intelligent path which allows employment and rational management of natural resources. Something similar were our great strides in land and marine conservation. With the establishment of the Patagonia Parks Network, we work with the Tompkins Conservation Foundation. So they gave us some of their land, so we multiplied by 2 or 3 the land, that public land. So we created this Patagonia Parks Network, as Naoko has mentioned, roughly at the south of Chile and the size of Switzerland. So we preserve our parks, but also at the same time, we were creating unique conditions for sustainable tourism, which happens to be one of our industry with sustained growth in the last years. On the other hand, when I came into office in 2014, we had protected only 4.3% of our ocean. That means 150,000 square kilometers. But we took a lot of measures, so we protected 43% of Chilean ocean by the end of my government. That is 1,650,000 square kilometers of marine areas protected. But we also did it directly influencing responsible management of fishery resources and involving local fishermen. As a matter of fact, in Rapa Nui, that many people know it at Easter Island, for example, traditional fishing is being prioritized, allowing numerous marine species to recover after years of irresponsible exploitation. And of course, we did it after consulting with the Rapa Nuis, according to the ILO 169 convention. Friends, although we accomplished some relevant environmental achievements during my 4 years as president, it is certainly not enough to reverse the damage of what has been done in the past decades. However, a great lesson I learned is that any country can find areas with potential for change, areas where the state's vision allows other industries to accelerate their own processes, which means to move the parts of the economy in the right direction towards sustainability. This process is just the beginning. In Chile, we have a lot to gain if we develop a responsible lithium industry, currently linked to the emerging electromobility market, or our organic agriculture, considering Chile's phytosanitary strengths and some of the rising consumer trends. I mention these examples because I believe that this is a valid bet among similar countries. The transformation of our production systems and models can be accelerated if we link them with less polluting emerging industries, if we work together with innovative industries, which allows the creation of value and employment and reverses some of the damages caused to the earth. There may be many more detonators and accelerators like the ones I've just mentioned. We have the duty of continuing to identify and prioritize them together with platforms such as GEF that allows communities and governments to achieve our goals towards sustainable development. So thank you so much for that support. But I want to be clear at one point. The biggest factor to achieve sustainable transformation is people. People that are taken into account, listened to, involved, because attaining sustainable development is not done overnight, nor with mere, even though we need leadership, but it's not with mere leadership or voluntarism from the top. It is rich with some patience and a lot of persistence, but more than anything by including everyone. Lastly, if Chile could do it, you can do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michelle, for the very, very inspirational.